Welcome to HortTube. My name is Jim Putnam. This is 10 sets of before and after photos from subscribers, beautiful gardens. Thank you guys so much for participating, and we're going to jump right into these. These are from Frank down in Irmo, South Carolina, Zone 8A, similar zone to Raleigh area, which I live in. Had this kind of a bumpy, grassy, small space that they didn't really know what to do with, and were just mowing it to be mowing it, and dug all that turf out and started in on a pretty big project here. You can see screenings or crush and run going in and being compacted down into this space, and then the beginnings of a circular shaped patio. Look at this thing. What an interesting design. You have basically two different shapes. You have the outside shape and the inside shape. I really like how this turned out. Such a great looking space, and the bed space is created around it, created more lines where you can use some smaller things and use some different sized materials in. It's just completely transformed space. Here's a view from over top, that little seating wall on the back, and then here's some planting areas that they're working on now. Said, picking out plants it turned out to be the hard part of this job, but they're on their way, and it's looking great. Love the garden art additions as well. Really looks fantastic. So there's a night view of the wall behind the patio. So thank you so much, Frank, for sending these in from South Carolina. It's an amazing transformation. Next up, we have photos from Wayne in Akron, Ohio. This is zone 5B or 6A. There's a large sugar maple on the left-hand side of the house here. You can see in the before photos. And it would have been very, very difficult to landscape around that, to garden with it. They're just so aggressive out in your garden beds. Really fibrous root system and large roots as well. Just really can absolutely dominate a space. That tree was removed, and you can see on the left now there's a Jane magnolia that was planted. This project's been going on about 10 years, so that Jane magnolia's got a little bit of size on it at this point. Over on the right-hand side, anchoring that is an Alaskan weeping cedar, which we'll get a slightly better view of in one of the photos coming up. But this is a completely transformed front garden space from what it was, and look at that. I mean, this is a fantastic space. It started out with just that big giant sugar maple on one side over there, and has become this. And again, you can see that weeping Alaskan cedar, how great that does at anchoring the right-hand side. And you can see the foundation kind of falls away to the right, so it really did need some height over there, and that's just kind of the perfect thing to anchor that. But this entire garden space just looks absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much, Wayne. Jumping into the video real quick, I'm standing in front of the Mississippi River over in Arkansas. Thank you guys very much for participating in these before and after videos. If you're interested in sending in photos for the garden before and after videos, send the photos to this email address right here, horttube@gmail.com. So this is Phoebe and her husband down in Simpsonville, South Carolina, Zone 7B. I think there's another email from them with back garden photos as well that I haven't gotten to yet, but this is their front garden space, and you can see it just had the builders shrubs along the foundation and a tree centered in the middle there, and they went to work to put a retaining wall bed space out in the front garden, and you can see some bulbs came up that first season in this space, and then quickly had lots of things going on out here. It just looks great. Really changed the whole front garden space. I would imagine that's Bermuda grass down in Simpsonville, South Carolina. So that retaining wall is probably making it slightly easier, not easy, but slightly easier to garden with that Bermuda. Just having, it can get through anything, but maybe this slows it down enough that it's, you don't have to worry about it constantly. But there it is, fuller and fuller. You can see things filling into this garden space, just really, and during different seasons as well. Another angle, low angle, looking back up to the house. Again, sometimes moving the height out. You really couldn't put anything large up against this foundation, and we'll see that a lot in these photos is that you can't really put 5 or 6 foot tall things right up against the house here. So sometimes sliding beds away from the house is a way to be able to get some height into the garden. And here's a sign she has out there: beware, a crazy plant lady lives here. Phoebe's garden. And here's another shed. I always like to see folks shed and how they decorate them, how they landscape around them. This one looks terrific. Next up, we have photos from Tammy down in Atlanta, Georgia, Zone 7B, 8A. Very, very similar to where I am in Raleigh, North Carolina. Probably similar soil and a similar lot. They're in an urban area in the city, so it's a small space to work with. But they set out changing the house pretty radically. Did this addition over on the right. It looked like it started out just as a carport or something like that, and then put this addition on. Ended up putting a front porch all the way across. Just really, really, really looks great. Completely changed this house. I'm sure added a lot of great living space inside, but you're basically starting from nothing with your landscaping when you embark on a project like that. So they've gotten lots of foundation planting. Bed over there on the left has been put in. Some closer shots here. I love that set of steps going up to the front as well. I love that gate on the front. I wish I still had that. I had that at the old house down in Johnston County, and Holly loved spending her days looking out through the front porch rails. I wish I had that going on in Raleigh. Some shady space over to the left as we were looking at the front of the house. Some hostas and things out in that area. And there's a butterfly out there on the summer annuals, on the summer impatiens out front. These are absolutely fantastic. She said that she was really been encouraged by this series, and this is an ongoing project. Feel free to send in before, it doesn't have to be before and after, because there really is no such thing as after in gardening. I've got all kinds of plans this next coming year to be relocating plants and changing things around in the garden. I don't consider it finished. So this shouldn't be called the before and after series. It should probably be called the before and ongoing gardening photos. So feel free to send in photos to the HortTube@gmail.com address. Whether you feel like you finished it or not, it will probably be some encouragement for somebody out there. Next up, we have a great set of photos from Linda and her husband Mark down in the Panhandle in Florida. They're in Zone 8B. They actually took a hit from Hurricane Michael, which was a Cat 5 hurricane. I can't even imagine what a cat living through a Cat 5 hurricane is like. We'll see a photo of the downed trees in just a minute that really changed their landscape during the process. They've been working on this for 10 years, and then you get thrown a curveball like that 4 years ago. I can't even imagine what a Cat 5 is like. I've lived through, many hurricanes, but we've never had anything reach Raleigh with any kind of intensity like that. So that must have been pretty wild. But you can see how amazing this transformation is in this front garden space with the retaining wall, the entry out by the street, the hedging creates a little bit of a private space in the front garden. Really looks amazing. Here's a spot alongside the driveway where retaining walls, shed went in. Her and her husband have done all the work themselves. They said in the email here. This is a lot of detailed retaining walls and patios and steps and fences and building, and just an amazing amount of work. Here's one of the devastating photo from what a Cat 5 hurricane leaves in its wake. It's just absolutely amazing. Post-Hurricane Fran, down where I lived, this is what my garden looked like. I should pull out some photos of it at some point and show it off. I had lost about 120 trees on that lot during Hurricane Fran, and that was just a Cat 2 to 3 hurricane by the time it reached me in Johnston County. So a Cat 5 hurricane is pretty wild. Here's some few detailed close-up photos from this incredible garden space that they have created down on the Panhandle in Florida. Thank you guys so much for sending these in, and what an amazing transformation. Beyond the 1,500 gardening videos I have on the channel, I also have a series called Learn to Garden video series over on my website, HortTube.com. There's a $25 off discount code below the video if you're interested in learning all things gardening. Thanks for watching. Next up, we have photos from Janine out in California, Zone 9B. You can see pretty much a blank slate here. in the back garden area. Few shots like this. Lots of space to work with though. Side garden similar to that. Patio installed back here in the back garden space. She said she was inspired by the fence that I put out by the road at our house in Raleigh, North Carolina, just as a separator from one side to the other. When you have a wide space like this along this curb area, you want all this to be bed. If you left it without that fence in the middle, then you have to then pick shrubs that are taller toward the back and then stepping down as you get toward the front. And it can be difficult. You put that fence down the middle, all of a sudden you got two sides to landscape on, and it's much easier. It obviously gives you more space as well to, having two sides of the fence, you can have similar size material. Here's another angle back up into the front garden space along the side. All newly planted space here. It's a big transformation from just inheriting basically a dirt space. Look at this. This is that side space we saw that was just wide open with nothing in it. This is going to look really, really fantastic as these plants mature over time. And then that back into that back corner, where we saw it was just an open blank space. Nice turf area. Nice edging on it, and then good selection of plants. Also, a couple of the other pieces of art back there as well, a container and other things that make the area special as well. So thank you guys so much for sending these in from California. Next set of photos is from Claire down in Springville, Alabama, Zone 7B. The house was newly built in 2015. These before photos of the garden are 2019. And just a lot of the builders' plants were put in. You can see this slope coming down. This is probably a fairly difficult spot to figure out what to do with, because you're going to get a lot of wash across that in all likelihood. And here's another spot on the other side, but you can see this really start to transform here pretty quickly. There's some cut flowers from the garden, and then here's that same angle looking back up into the garden here. New bed spaces have been put in, pollinator plants have been put in, interesting perennials. You can really see how much this is transformed. I love the grasses, the vertical elements, again, all the pollinator plants. There's evergreen shrubs in here too, so when a lot of this goes to sleep, it'll still look good in the winter time. A few conifers. Space just really has been completely transformed from the builder's plants that were up against the foundation back in 19 until now. Thank you so much, Claire, for following along with the channel and sending in these great before and after photos. Next up, we have photos from Mark and Diane. They're in Washington State, Zone 8B. You can see this, what looks like an amazing space to get, to be able to use, and look at how incredible a transformation this actually is in his front garden space. Just completely different, completely rethought, completely redone. It just looks absolutely amazing. All the parts and pieces of this, from the stone to the plant selection to all the other interesting pieces, colors, textures, everything just looks absolutely amazing. Here's the back garden, and we get a similar kind of result out of this as well. Really, really beautiful space. Thank you so much, Mark, for sending these in from Washington State. These next photos are from Michael. He actually lives in Wendell, North Carolina now, which is in Wake County, same as I do, where Raleigh is. But these photos are actually from their previous house up in Pattonburg, New Jersey, Zone 6B. And you can see the pool they inherited, and a little retaining wall, and looks like some ground cover junipers up in that space. And he turned it into this. Obviously got the pool all cleaned up, got everything just all cleaned up, and then planted these oak leaf hydrangeas in that space, which just look really terrific. This is about 5 years after that first photo was taken, and then an additional photo a couple years after that as this bed has really started to fill in. But this must be great in and around that swimming pool to have such a a great planted area. Really love this transformation. Thank you so much, Michael, for sending these in. This is the 10th and final set of photos for this video, and you guys aren't going to believe this one. I really, really like this one. This is from Bonnie. This is actually in a mobile home park in Martinsburg, Pennsylvania, at Zone 6B. She has this corner lot and jumped right in and started putting in bed spaces and really started to improve this corner lot very, very quickly. Love the bird bath there. Look at these planted areas. It's just really absolutely amazing what she's done with this space. As she said, she taken an unsightly space and turned it into a beautiful corner. I couldn't, just amazing how great this looks. All of the work that she put in to really transform this space in a mobile home park. So thank you so much, Bonnie, for sending these in, and thanks to everyone for participating in these before and after videos. So thanks again, guys, for participating in these garden before and after videos. I really, really enjoy seeing all of your great photos and all of your incredible progress in your garden. So again, if you have gardening photos that you'd like to send in, before and after photos, send them to horttube@gmail.com. Thanks for watching.